right, Venus. This is probably my favorite planet. So, yeah. Okay. So let's get into it. Venus, the hottest and brightest planet. No, I'm just kidding. But like actually though. So 880 degrees Fahrenheit Venus can get up to. She's a hot girl. She really is. I say I guess technically, yeah, it would be more of like a feminine aspected planet, but we're not really going to get into the masculine and feminine of planets. But I think we all know that Venus is pretty feminine energy. Okay, anyway, whatever. So, similar composition to Earth, actually, which is fascinating. It has a volcanic surface. If you're hanging out on the surface of Venus, it's going to be not life sustaining for humans. I'm not going to say other forms of life can't exist there, but for humans, it's not looking good. It's going to be a little tough. Anyway, very harsh environment, trace amounts of water, same thing, like the moon and Mercury. So, very interesting. Okay, how can it have trace amounts of water if it gets this hot? Wouldn't it all evaporate? So, what we're seeing is that different planets have different ways to sustain life and energy than Earth does because Earth is a different environment than theirs. Anyway, trace amounts of water has coronas or crowns, ring-like structures on the surfaces, which is very interesting. Sulfuric acid clouds. That's what you see here. And yeah, sometimes if you look at pictures of Venus, it'll be like this kind of yellowy like tinge, and that is those sulfuric acid clouds, thick clouds that absorb its energy. So you can't even really see down to the surface. So if you think about Earth, like you can generally see the land and the water, whereas on Venus, you can't see through the clouds, which leads me to believe on some level it's like a very protected place. If it has all that cloud cover, but who knows? That could mean a lot of different things. Their atmosphere traps in the heat. That's why it gets so hot and stays so hot. And then humans could have once lived on Venus, but obviously not at this day and time. Like if we went to Venus, we could not hang. And a Venusian year, so how long it takes Venus to go around the sun is 225 Earth days. All right. Venus also goes retrograde. Actually, all the planets go retrograde, just not as often as Mercury does. So Venus retrogrades typically last for, I believe it's like 6 weeks, whereas Mars retrogrades, I think it's like 8 weeks or something like that. So it can be very much a hard time, but oftentimes, if there is a Venus retrograde, it will get you into alignment, with the right relationships in your life or at least getting rid of the wrong ones, which can feel painful, but it is what it is. All right. Venus astrologically, then, when you see Venus in a natal chart, you can automatically know that this has to do with relationships. So, relationships can mean all sorts of different relationships, how they relate to other people. So this can be friendships, this can be coworkers, really anybody. But Venus specifically does deal with the like partnership and romantic aspects of things as well. So typically when we think of Venus and relationships, we think about romantic relationships, but just know that it does go beyond that. Venus in your chart, though, can show you what your values are and then also what you value in a partner. So, for example, if somebody has like a Leo Venus, they might really value their partner to be bold, to be outgoing, to be maybe very attractive or like attention grabby, whereas somebody that has maybe like a Scorpio Venus, they would prefer to keep their relationship really private or very like deep emotional bonding with that person. So everybody has, different things that they're looking for within relationships. And that's why I really love Venus and trying to help people understand that, like, it's not necessarily wrong or right. I mean, certain things, don't get me wrong. Like, there's lines where, like, no human should cross. But for example, somebody with like a Aquarius Venus, they might be really into having, multiple partners or just like not really being a little bit more detached, whereas somebody with like a Pisces Venus would literally like stab that person. You know what I mean? So if they like cheated or looked in a different direction, I'm not saying that's always the case. I'm just saying that different people are wanting different things. So understanding what somebody's values are in relationships can really help you to determine, okay, do we have aligned values? If so, great. If not, that's okay. But trying to like force a relationship with somebody that doesn't align with you values wise is not going to work. And it's like, I can change them for what? For why? To how you are? Okay, that sounds like egoic and selfish AF, but whatever. Okay, so anyway, Venus, physical aesthetic, or like clothing and appearance, how you come across to the world, your personal style can be very much Venusian influenced. Adoration of self and others. So like this can go either way. Like you might think that others have more value than you do. So you might put all of your like admiration on another person. So it can go, like I said, it can be really positive or it can get like really dark with Venus energy as well. So charm, decency, beauty, pleasure, leisure activities, anything that like brings you pleasure or is fun, essentially comes down to Venus. So that's why like Venus energy is so sought after. It can easily be abused though. Like you can go too far with this energy really easily. Let's see, attachments to others. So definitely looking into different attachment styles. I do think different signs or different energies behind different signs likely do play into their attachment styles as well. Attractiveness that can be physical and energetically attractive. And if you don't know the differences there, I would really start thinking about it, like how somebody might be attractive energetically but not physically. Very interesting. Or vice versa. They could be physically attractive, but not energetically attractive. The arts, sensuality, comfort, compromise, peace, and tastefulness, harmony and balance and justice can all be attributed to Venusian influence. And then Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. All right, so these are the Venusians, the Taurians and the Librans will be the Venusians. All right, so that is Venus. Next up, we will talk about Mars, and that will be the conclusion of the personal planets. Love that for us. All right.